Welcome to the Math Record. Today we'll be covering the CCML Algebra 1 Contest 3 2015-2016 Division A. Okay, question 1. Solve for h. 2h plus 3g is equal to 8. So we just have to write this variable form. So get 3g to our side, which is equal to 2h is equal to negative 3g plus 8. And then divide by 2 so that h is equal to negative 3 over 2g plus 4. So that's your answer. Question 2. Determine the slope of the line passing through the point 4, 2, and negative 5, negative 2. So change it. The slope is just a change in y over the change in x. So negative 2 minus 2 all over 5 minus 4. So that is just negative 4 over 1. So the slope is just negative 4. So your answer is just negative 4. Really simple. Question 3. Solve for g, where 3 over g minus 4 is equal to negative 8. So add 4 to the other side, so 3 over g is equal to negative 4. And then you basically just have 3. You switch places for the g and the negative 4 to make g. So your answer is for 3 is just 3 negative 4. 4. Determine the slope that passes through determine the slope of the line that passes through quadrants 2 and 3. So this is quadrant 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So it only passes 2 and 3, then it can't have a slope like this, because sooner or later it's going to go to a 2, a 1, or 4. Because even if you do it like this. So the only line that goes through it is when its slope is kind of like parallel to the y-axis. So it's going to be like x is equal to some kind of like number, basically. So for this slope, it'll be undefined. Like for those types of graphs. So the answer is not 0, sorry. Is undefined. There is a difference between 0 and undefined. Undefined slopes are like this, 0 slopes are like this. Okay? Question 5. If 111 base 5 plus 111 base 2 is equal to n base 3, solve for n. So let's convert this to base 10 first. So it would just be 1 times 5 to 2 plus 1 times 5 plus 1. So basically how you do this is that the units place would just be multiplied by 5 to 0, and then the tens place be multiplied by 5 to 1, and then the hundreds place be multiplied by 5 to 2, and then etc. etc. So if you have like a thousands place, you're gonna multiply by 5 to 3. A 10 to a thousandth place, 10,000 place will multiply to 5 to the 4. Do you see how it's like moving up in the exponent? So now you're gonna do the same thing for this one, for the 111 base 2, which is just 1 times 2 to 2, plus 1 times 2 plus 1. So this would equal to 1 plus 5 plus 25, so that's 31. And this will be 1 plus 2 plus 4, so that will be 3, and that will make 7. Adding them together, that's 38, and we need to put this in n base 3. So how do you do this? Convert from a base 10 to base 3. Basically, you just gotta think of what exponent this goes up to that is less than 38. So 3 to 4 is 81. So 3 to 3 is equal to 27. That's the highest number that highest exponent it could go up to, which is 3. That could go up to that's less than 38. So basically, 27. You're gonna have to multiply this to something, but you can't. You can only multiply it to 1, because if you multiply 2 or anything higher, this is gonna be an integer. Then I mean a natural number. Then basically 27. I mean a whole number. Basically it's gonna get higher. Like it's gonna get to like, if you multiply 2, it's 54. Multiply by 3 is gonna be like um what is this? 54, 81. Yeah, 81. So it's not gonna work. So 27 is A is equal to 1, 27 is the highest. So let's kind of write this out here. So when it's coefficient 1, and when it's 3 to 3. So you minus 27 from 33, it's 11. So now you have 3 to 2. 3 to 2 is 9. So 9 can only multiply by 1, basically. So you multiply minus a 9 here, so you get a 2. 3 to a 1. 3 to a 1 is already bigger than a 2, so you have to have 0 here, because then it makes 3 to a 1 times 0 is 0. So you subtract 0, you get 2 left. And now you just have 3 to 0, which is just 1. So 1 times what number? It's just 2, because then you have to minus that 2 to get 0, basically. So in base 3, you have 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 1, 0, 2, base 3. Sorry. So that's your answer. Like, you could do this too, because 2 plus 3 to a 1, 3 to the power 1 times 0, plus 3 to 2 times a 1, plus 3 to 3 times 1 is just 38. So this is the same thing as 38 base 10. So the answer is 1102 base 3. Question 6. Express the following rational number as a common fraction. Do not express as a mixed number. So you want this to be improper. So what you do for this, which I refer to as a repeating decimal, is that you set it as a variable first. So you have 3.217 power of this. So this is repeating. So you kind of want this number to repeat again. So you're gonna multiply by 1,000. So you have 1,000x. So you're gonna have to move the decimal place 3 over, because you're gonna multiply by a power of 10. So like 10x, 100x, 1,000x, etc. 10,000x. So you could just move the decimal point, and then you're just gonna you can see how this works. It's gonna be 3, move 3 decimal places, so 3217. Actually, you're gonna multiply by 100. Yeah, you're gonna multiply by 100. 100x is equal to 3, 2, 1. So you gotta move 2 decimal places, and then 7, and then repeat that 1, 7, because this is repeating, so it just keeps on going, right? And now you see how this works. You subtract them together, so you get 99x is equal to 318 .5, and then the 1/7 repeating kind of cancel each other out. You see how that works? It's a decimal place. So you just subtract that, and you subtract those away. So 318 divided by 99. 18.5 divided by 99. So contents 3, just use your calculator. Kind of get this into all integers. So 318.5 divided by 99. Approximate that to a fraction. And you get a 637 over 198, which is multiply just 2 on the top and the bottom. You could like multiply by 2 top to bottom, so you get the integers, and you kind of just factor both of these numbers, 637 and 198, to make sure that you don't have any common like divisors. But since it doesn't, this is the answer. Okay. Question 7. Determine the equation of a line perpendicular to 9x minus 4y is equal to 3 that passes through the point 35. Write your answer in slope-intercept form. So a easy way to do it in this form would just switch the numbers for x and y. So you have negative 4x, and then you have plus 9y. But then you're going to change the coefficient in front of the 9 to the opposite version. So this is going to be 9, so you're going to change it to negative 9y. And then you're going to have to find the point and then this equation is perpendicular to this equation. Now you just got to put that point in. So that's negative 12 minus 45, so it's negative 57. So this thing is equal to negative 57, okay? Now just get 9y to the other side, so negative 4y plus 57 is equal to 9y. So that's negative 4 ninth x plus divide by 3, that is 1, 27. Divided by 3 is 9. So 19 over 3 is equal to y. So that's your answer, negative 4 ninth x plus 19 over 3y. Question 8. The volume of a sphere is 9 pi over 2 units cubed. Determine the length of the square's diameter. So the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi radius cubed. So that's equal to 9 over 2 pi. So cancel out the pi's. Multiply by 3 over 4, so you get r cubed is equal to 27 all over 8, which is just r is equal to 3 over 2, basically. So if the radius is 3 over 2, the diameter is just 2 times the radius, which is just 3. So the answer for 8 is just 3. Number 9. How many distinguishable arrangements of the word Googleplex are possible? So what you do is that you kind of just count every single letter. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you have 10 letters. Just remember you have 10 letters. Because you want to make sure that you don't like write 9 letters down. So G, you have 2 G's. O's, you have 3. You already have G again. The L's, you only have 2 L's. P, you only have 1. E, you only have 1. And X, you only have 1. So make sure that adds up to 10. So that's 5. That's 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, perfect. So now what you do is that you're just going to put 10 factorial, the amount of length, divided by every single one of this is factorial. So it's 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 2 factorial, 1 factorial, 1 factorial, 1 factorial. So since these are all 1 factorials, I really don't need to look for this one. So using your calculator, 10 factorial divided by 2 factorial, 3 factorial, and 2 factorial gets you 151,200, basically. And that's basically how you find it. You just count the amount of letters, put those in factorial, and then each individual letter and how much it repeats, and then you put it all like that. And you divide them, basically. Number 10. If 132 base b is equal to 1212 base 5, solve for b. So basically what I did above for 5, you have b squared. 1 times just b squared is just b squared. Plus 3b plus 2 is equal to, this is in base 5, so you have 5 to the 3 plus 2 times 5 to the 2, plus 5 plus 2. So that gets b squared plus 3b. And you kind of just set it up as a quadratic. So 5 to the 3 is 125 plus, plus 5 squared times 2 is 175 plus 5 plus 2. That's 182 on the right side, and then you subtract the 182. So you get minus 180 is equal to 0. So b factors out to 15 and 12. So it'll be plus 15 and b minus 12. Since b can't be negative, b has to be positive because it's a base. Then technically the only answer for it is 12. Okay. Question 11. The line y is equal to 5 over 3x plus 2 is reflected over the line y is equal to x. Write the equation of the reflected line in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we have something like this. So that's y is equal to 5x plus 3. 5 over 3x plus 2. And this is y is equal to x. Not drawn to scale. And then the line that's reflected is something like this. So, what we're going to do is that we're going to find a point here, right? And then we're going to have a perpendicular line go through it. And then basically, since it's perpendicular to this line, it's just going to be reflected over to the other line, right? So you're going to have that point. And since we already know what the intersection is for those 2 points, because they're all supposed to be, because if it intersects here, then it's going to reflect, it's going to be this point. Then we know 2 points, and we can basically find the equation of the line. So that's basically what we're going to do. So, the equation that we're going to use for y perpendicular to y is equal to x, so that's y equals to negative x, basically for this equation. So I'll write it right there. Y is equal to negative x. So using that, we need to find out when y is equal to 5 over 3x plus 2 intersects y is equal to negative x. So negative x is equal to 5 over 3x plus 2. And then we got negative 8 over 3x is equal to 2. So x is equal to negative 3/4. So that's what we know. Because the equation is not here, that's when it has a different y-intercept. So our equation is kind of like right here. So we have right here. So that's negative 3/4. So we have negative 3/4 Sorry, let me actually just write the 3 inside. Yeah, 3/4. Since it has to go through y is equal to negative x, that means this one has to be 3/4. Basically, because you plug in negative 3/4 into x. And it has to satisfy this equation also. So 5 over 3 times negative 3/4 is negative 5 over 3 plus the 2 is 3 over 4. So it satisfies both equations. So it just goes through right here. So that's the point we have. So now we just get the point here. So we know the point negative y equals negative x and y equals x intersect this point right here, which is just 0, 0. Right? So it's like this. That's our perpendicular line. So since that's perpendicular, that's perpendicular. So what we had to do is that basically what it looked like is that it's the change in y over the change in x. So we kind of just have a you change from here to go down, and then you go here and go down. So you kind of just do it again. So if it's from negative 3/4 to 0, 0, all we had to do is technically just do it again. So negative 3/4 to 0, you had to add 3/4, so you just add a 3/4 again to 0. 3/4 to 0, you got minus 3/4, so 0 minus 3/4 is negative 3/4. So that is our coordinate from here. Now we just need to find the coordinate here, which is 5 over 3x. Intersect y is equal to x, so you have to find when that is true. So this will get to 2 is equal to negative 2/3 x. So x is equal to negative 3. So you plug, so that's negative 3, negative 3. Okay, so now we just need to find the slope for these 2 points. So kind of move this up. Sorry that some of it's going to be cut off. We only care about the points for now on. Okay. So we have 3/4, negative 3/4, and negative 3 and negative 3. So we're just gonna have to find the slope for that. So basically negative 3/4 minus 3 minus negative 3 is plus 3. All over 3/4 minus negative 3, so plus 3. Using your calculator, you have negative 3/4 plus 3, which is 9 over 4. 9 over 4. All over 3 divided by 4 plus 3, which is 15 over 4. So 9 divided by 4 times 15 times 4 divided by 15 is just 3 over 5. So slope is just 3 over 5 basically. So that's what we have for our slope. So let's kind of erase all this. We already know what the slope is. So now let's just make our equation. So y is 3 over, I mean not 3 over 4, 3 over 5, if I keep saying 3/4. It's 3 over 5. And then it goes through, let's just use this point, negative 3, negative 3. Because you can either use this point or this point. One of the points work. So I'm just gonna use the integer ones because it's easier. So this gets negative 9, 5. So negative 3 is equal to negative 9 over 5 plus b, because we need to find b. So negative 3 plus 9 divided by 5 gets us negative 6 over 5. So our b is negative 6 over 5. So that is our reflected line, basically. And that's how you do it. You kind of draw a picture out, and then you kind of do a perpendicular line that is perpendicular to the line that is the line that is reflected upon, and then you find the intersection between that perpendicular line and the line that you want to reflect by, and then you find that point, and you find the point of that perpendicular line and the original of this of the reflected line, the line that you're getting reflected upon, and then you find the distance between those 2 points, and you kind of just subtract them out and using those distance, and then you get the you find the slope, and then you find the y-intercept, and that's basically how you do it. So that's your answer. Okay. Question 12. Grace is driving from Gresham to Uptown. Sorry if I mispronounced them. For half of the distance, She drives at 30 miles per hour. For the other half of the distance, she encounters some traffic and drives at 20 miles per hour. What's her average speed for the trip? So the total distance is just, let's say 2x, right? So x is the half of the distance. So you have half the distance she was going at 30 miles per hour. So the amount of time she spent is just this much, right? Because imagine x was like 60, then you spent 2 hours basically. So x plus this, and then the other half x is in 20 miles per hour. So doing that together, you kind of get 2x all over x divided by 30 plus x over 20 is x over 12. So that is the same thing as 2x times 12 over x. So you cancel out the x, that gets 24. Basically. Because technically this is the same thing as 1 over 12 times x. And you kind of cancel out the x and it's just 24. So what's her average speed? Her average speed was 24. Okay. Question 13. The operation AB is defined as A times B divided by A minus 3B. If 3 of 2 of C equals 2, determine the value of C. So let's work inside out first. So using the perpendicular, we have 2 times C. Sorry. Let's actually move it right here. 2 times C all over 2 minus 3C. So that is our value. So that would be multiplied to the 3. So now you have 3 times B, which is this number, 2C all over 2 minus 3C, all over 3 minus 3 times B, which is 6C, all over 2 minus 3C. So this is equal to 2. So now we just need to simplify it. So getting the same numerator. Let's actually not have this as 3 and make this 6. So we're going to need to get this denominator the same. So that gets 6C all over 2 minus 3C all over, that's 6. And that's negative 9C minus negative 6C. So that's negative 15C all over 2 minus 3C is equal to 2. Okay, let's move this up. And we get 6C all over 6. Sorry. 6 minus 15C is equal to 2. Because dividing by a fraction is just multiplying by its reciprocal. So this gets 6C is equal to 12 minus 30C. And this gets 36C is equal to 12. So then C is just equal to 1/3. So that's your answer, 1/3. Okay. Another way you could do this is basically you could just put 3 in here and solve for the B first, and then from that B you had to 2 times that C is equal to that B number, and you could get C. So you could work outside in or outside out. Inside out or outside in. 14. Spinner A contains the first of 4 prime numbers. So the first spinner A contains the first 4 prime numbers, so A. The first 4 is 2, 3, 5, and 7. So, and each of the outcome is equally likely to occur. Okay, so each of them is 25% chance to occur. So spinner B contains the first 4 natural numbers. So natural numbers. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And each of the outcomes is equally likely to occur. So each of them is also 25%. If each spinner is spun once, what's the probability that the product of the number of the outcome is even? So the only way for it to be even is that it's a odd times an even, even times an odd, or a even times an even. Okay, so it's the first one, second one, first one, second one, first one, second one. So there's only one even here. So if you're how many probabilities are there? There's 4 of them and 4 of this, so there's 16 probabilities. So that's in the denominator total. So in the numerator, if you have 2, right, all of them is gonna make positive because even times any number is even. So that 4, so if it's 2, it's gonna work. If it's 3, then it's just gonna have to need even. So it's only 2 and 4, so only 2 of them work. Okay. If it's 5, it's gonna also need even, so it's just 2 and 4. And if it's 7, it's odd, so you need even, so it's 2 and 4 also. So those are the only possibilities. So that's 6, that's 10, so that's 10 over 16, which simplifies to 5/8. The answer is just 5/8. Okay, number 15. A last point is a coordinate whose x and y coordinates are both integers. Given a circle with its center at the origin, and the radius 25, determine the number of last points in quadrant 4 that lies on the circle. The number of last points in quadrant 4, okay? So we have something like this, and it's in the origins, and it has radius 5, basically. Radius 25. Right? And you basically have like points right here that's supposed to be all these points in the 4th quadrant. So this is the 4th quadrant that lie on the circle. So it's on the circle and it has to be lattice points. So they're telling me that x squared, the x coordinate plus the y coordinate squared is equal to the radius squared, which is 25 squared. So that's what we need to check. So we basically need to do that. Just need to prove that that's true, and it's be on the 4th coordinate. So none of the values for so it can't be 0, 25, and 25, 0 because those are on the line, it's not on the 4th quadrant. So it's gonna start at 1 to any single other number. So it'd be x squared plus y squared is equal to 625. Okay. If you kind of know your Pythagorean triples, you have 3, 4, 5. 5, 12, 13 doesn't work because 13 is not a multiple of 25. 5, 6, nope. 7, 24, 25. That works. 8, 15, 17. Nope. 9, 40, 41. No. 10, 60, 61. No. Wait, no, it's not 10. It's 11, 60, 61. And then 12, 30. Okay, there's not gonna work. So these are the only possible ones. Ish. And then we have 3, 4, 5, right? So you can scale this up to, what is it? You can multiply this by 5, so you get 15, 20, 25. So x and y, 15 and 20 could each be in the coordinate if you think about it. So it's just gotta be a negative version. So it'd be like 15, negative 20, or 15, negative 20, or 20, negative 15. So there's 2 possibilities for this one. And 7, 24 is the same thing. You could be like 7 and then negative 24, or 24 and negative 7, basically. So there's 2 of them for that one. So for 15, determine the number of last points. There's 2 for this one and 2 for this one, so there's just 4. If you don't want to do this way, I guess you use trial and error and just plug in integers for x and y, basically, until you get a integer for both of them. Because all you need to know is that they just both have to be integers. You don't need to care if it's positive or negative, because sooner you could just add a negative in there, and negative square is just gonna be positive, so it doesn't matter either way. So you just need to check for the numbers are just natural. Okay, so 15 is answer 4. 16, Peabody Elementary surveyed their students regarding vegetable preferences. They found that 30 like arugula, 45 like Brussels sprouts, and 21 like kale. No student liked exactly two. No students liked exactly 2 of the vegetables. Although 7 students liked all 3. So let's kind of draw a Venn diagram. So they said no students liked exactly 2. So all these are 0. This is 0, 0, and 0. And all those 7 students liked all 3. So 7 liked all 3. So they said 30 likes. Let's say this is arugula, this is Brussels sprouts, and this is kale. Okay. So this is 23 because 30 like arugula. So this entire thing is supposed to be 30. And 45 likes Brussels sprouts, so 45 minus 7 is 38. And 21 like kale, so this would be 14. Because 21 minus 7 is 14. How many students were surveyed? So you just gotta add them all together. So that gets 23 plus 7 plus 38 plus 14, which gives us 82. Basically just that simple, just draw a Venn diagram out. If you ever see a Venn diagram question, just draw a Venn diagram. Another way is that use variables, but those take a little to work, and I'm not going to show that. Consider the closed region in the plane bounded by the lines x is equal to 0. So, write this. Y is equal to 0. Yeah, it's just the coordinate axes. Y is equal to 3, and y is equal to negative 2 plus 2x. So, negative 2 plus 2x, so somewhere around here. So, we're going to have to find this, basically. So, compute the area of the region. We just need to find this. So, we already know that this height is 3. So, now we just need to know this one. So, this is negative 2, 2. So, when does it intercept the x-axis? So, negative 2 plus 2x equals 0. So, x is obviously just 1. So, this is 1. And then you find when negative 2 plus 2x is equal to the y is equal to 3. So that's 5, and that's 5 over 2. So this is 5 over 2. So this is an area of just kind of like a trapezoid. So to find the area of the trapezoid, it's just base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. So you have 5 divided by 2 plus 1 times 3 divided by 2. So you have 21 divided by 4. And that's your area. Just draw a picture and you should be fine. Question 18. How many divisors does 744,800 have? So you just use your calculator. If you know how to use the factor setting, just get 744,800, and you get 2 to the power of 5 times 5 to the power of 2 times 7 to the power of 2 times 19. This should be multiply them all together, and you should get 744,800. Or you can also do it by hand, but if you want to make sure you didn't make a mistake, you just use your calculator, since constant 3 is okay. And then what you do is that you add 1 to every single exponent, so 5 plus 1 is 6. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. And 1 plus 1 is 2. And then you multiply all these exponents together. So you get 6 times 3 times 3 times 2. And you get an answer of 108. And that basically is the amount of divisors. Question 19. Luciad High School Algebra 1 math team has 7 students in it. How many ways can at least 2 of their students finish in the top 3 places? That is 1, 2, or 3. So since it says at least 2, it's either 2 people placed in or 3 people placed in the math team. So basically, if it's 2 people that placed in, you have 7 factorial over 7 minus 2 factorial, and that's basically it. Because you gotta think about it. Because like, say you have first, second, and third place, right? And you have like 2 students, and it's called A and B, right? It matters that it's how it's ordered, because A could get first place and B gets second place, or it's BA. Then B is first place and A is second place. So since I know that these things, if you change the order, that it matters, then I want a bigger number. So I know I don't have to, like, instead of saying it's a combination, which is just 7 factorial over 5 factorial, 2 factorial, it's just 7 factorial over 7 minus 2 over 5 factorial, basically. Because I want a bigger number. And that's how I think about combinations and permutations. I don't think about if the order kind of matters. I think of if I need the number to be bigger. So if the number needs to be bigger, then I just don't divide by the 2 factorial. So combinations is just 7 factorial over 7 minus the number the number of students you have factorial over number of students you have minus the number of ones you need, which is 2. Also, since there's first, second, and third place, It matters that it's like the student gets first and second, gets first and third, or like second and third. So there's 3 ways to do it, because like these orders kind of matter because it's first, second, and third, like different ways. So there's 3 ways for each of those. So you just multiply that by 3. So that's the amount of ways for 2. And if they win all the top 3 places, then it's just 7 factorial all over 7 minus 3 factorial, basically. So using your calculator, 7 factorial divided by 5 factorial times 3 is 126, plus 7 factorial all over 4 factorial, which is 210. So that gets 336. So that's your answer. Okay. Question 20. Compute the distance between line y is equal to 4/3 x and y equals to 4/3 x plus 4. So basically what you're going to do is you have a slope like here, a line like this, line like this. You're just going to have to find a perpendicular line, because if you find the perpendicular line, you're going to find this point right here, and you got to find this point right here. And then you just find the distance between the 2 points, and then you kind of just get the distance, basically. So that's what you're going to do, because that's a short amount of line. So a perpendicular line to this is just opposite and reciprocal, so it's equal to y is equal to negative 3/4 x. Negative 3/4 x and 4 over 3x intersect at 0, 0. I mean, since there's no b, it's just gonna intersect, so it's gonna be like this. Oops, sorry. Yeah, something like that. Then we have this, and then you have the line here, so it intersects at 0, 0, obviously. Now we just need to find this point, which is negative 3/4 x is equal to 4 over 3x plus 4. So that would be negative 3/4 minus 4 divided by 3. And you get negative 25 over 12 x equal to 4. So 4 divided by negative 25 over 12 is equal to negative 48 over 25. So that's your x. And now you just need to get the y. So you just plug this back into the original equation. So negative 48 divided by 25 times negative 3 divided by 4 would get you 36 over 25. Sorry, negative 36 over 25. And then since this is 0, 0 and this is negative 48, 25, and 36 over 25, you subtract the values from each other, and you kind of just square them and add them, and then you find the distance, because it's the distance between 2 points. So it's just negative 48 divided by 25 minus 0 squared, plus 36 divided by 25 minus 0 squared. So doing this in your calculator, and then you square root that amount, which gets you 12 over 5, basically. So basically that's simple. Because since it's 0, 0, what you technically, like, a shortcut is that you don't have to subtract and do all that work. You can just see this amount, and then you square it, and then this amount you square, and you add them together, and you just square root the entire thing, and you get the answer. So that's the answer, 12 over 5. That completes everything for the CCML Algebra 1 Contest 3 2015-2016 Division A. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next math record.